Hello, and today we're going to go over the basic descriptive statistics that we can do in SPSS. Again, I have already opened the example SPSS file. So now what I'm going to do is let's take a look at the basic tools for descriptive statistics. Let's see how many men and women, and also let's take a look at some of the satisfaction variables. And how they are distributed. So analyze, we're going to do some analysis. We're going to go to descriptive statistics again. Pretty simple. Analyze descriptives, it's intuitive. And then since we want to know how many, we're going to look at frequencies. So I add gender, and then I'll just come down and click on price and service satisfaction and hit OK. And what we get is a table for each of them that has the variable label here, not the name but the label, and based on the values that are placed here, it has already labeled my output, and it tells me how many in each category. So I get to see that there are 209 men, which is 35.9% of the sample. There were 373 women, which is 64.1% of the sample, leaving 100% of the sample. This also builds a cumulative percent. Now, if you'll note, there's a column that says valid percent. The valid percent would give you the percentage of respondents with the missing variables deleted. So it lets you see and adjust for missing variables. So it lets you see the percentages with an adjustment for the missing variables. So now let's take a look at price satisfaction. Are people happy or unhappy with our price satisfaction, with our prices overall? Now when we look at it, we see that 72% were strongly negative. That is 12.4% of the sample, and a cumulative percent of 12.4. I look to the somewhat negative variable, and I see that 135 respondents were somewhat negative with regard to their price satisfaction about our stores. That's 23.2% of the sample and 35.6% overall. So I'm now able to say that 35.6% were strongly or somewhat negative toward prices. The neutral category had 140 respondents, which is 24.1%. Somewhat positive was 24.9%, and somewhat positive was 24.9%, and strongly positive had 90 respondents and was 15.5%. So based on these tables, you would then be able to quickly show and explain how many were negative, how many were positive, and then within each of these categories how many there were and what percentage of respondents are in each group. So you're able to do a very quick descriptives on what the results say. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to analyze. We're going to take a look at, since we can do central tendency with the satisfaction variables, we're going to take a look at whether or not, let's take a look at the satisfaction variables and take a look at the means, the standard deviations, and some of the other descriptive statistics that we can get into with this. So I go Analyze, Descriptive Statistics again, and I come to Descriptives. And here I'm going to put in my variables. I'm going to click on Price Satisfaction. I'm going to hit the Shift key and go down to Overall Satisfaction. I click on that, and it gives me all of the variables in one chunk I enter them into the variables. So now I'm going to be doing the descriptives for these. I click on options and it has the default. So it's giving me the mean, the standard deviation, the minimum, and the maximum. In addition, I want to look at the variance, and I'd like to look at the basic measure of distribution as well. And I'm going to order these in descending mean so that it comes out automatically with the most or the highest positive score to the lowest positive score. So I'm able to see what they are most satisfied with and what they are least satisfied with in one view. I hit continue. I then hit OK. And here we go. Now, if you'll look, we get to see how many, the N is how many respondents there were, minimum and the maximum on the responses. Minimum was a 1, maximum was a 5. The means are provided here. So this is the average. So the average satisfaction is grouped around neutral. However, organization satisfaction and item quality were the two highest, and the two lowest are price and variety. It gives us our standard deviation and our variance, and these are, while this is a measure, while the mean is a measure of central tendency, the standard deviation and variance are measures of dispersion and how far from the mean the data groups. And then finally, whether or not our variables, the kurtosis measures whether or not our variables are skewed and what their normal distribution is. And again, there's more on this in the book, but this provides us with a wonderful way of looking at this in one quick shot using the SPSS. And again, how did I get this type of output? To get the first output, analyze, descriptives, and this was just frequencies, and I go to frequencies. I already have the variables in because I haven't done anything to it. It's there. I hit OK. Boom. I get the data repeated again. Now, how did I get to the means and the standard deviation and the variance? I went to analyze, descriptives, but here I went to descriptive. I put in the variables under options. I checked mean, standard deviation, variance, minimum, maximum, kurtosis. I'm taking a look at the distribution. Descending mean, so I can see what is the most satisfied to the least satisfied. I hit continue and I hit OK. Alright, that concludes the tutorial on how to use SPSS for this type of data, and it also gave you a glimpse of the types of questions that you can answer just utilizing this type of data. The next tutorial is going to look at basic associations between similar types of data. So nominal data and nominal data, or interval and interval data.